Let us complicate this example a bit by using two base classes, base 1 and base 2. Okay, so this is the base 1 class, constructing base 1, destructing base 1, and let us also create another base class, base 2, and here let us have variable y, and here base 2, y will be equal to the formal parameter I. So constructing base 2, here destructing base 2, and this is the derived class. Now it is using multiple inheritance, public base 1 and public base 2. Okay, and protected member z is here, and here the constructor, derived class constructor, will now have three formal parameters I, j and k, where I will be passed to base 1 and j will be passed to base 2 and k will be used to initialize z. Okay, and here also when we are creating the object, we will pass three arguments, one for I, one for j and one for k. Okay, and let us run it. There is a problem here, it should be base 2. Okay, so the same output, constructing base 1, constructing base 2. So the constructors are executed in the order of derivation from left to right. First base 1 constructor will be called, it will initialize the value of x to I, then control will return here. Then base 2 constructor will be called, it will initialize the value of y to j, and after execution it will return here. And when both the constructors have been executed, the derived class constructor will be executed. So z will be equal to k, and when the program is stopping, then the destructors will be executed in the reverse order. So destructing derived, destructing base 2, then destructing base 1. Now what will happen if we do not want to create a constructor in the derived class, but the base classes need a constructor to initialize their data members? So that is, I want to say is that this class suppose has got no data member which it needs to initialize. Okay, then what is the requirement of constructor here? There is no requirement, but because it is deriving from base 1 and base 2, which are having constructors to initialize their data members, so even if we do not need any constructor in the derived class, still we have to make one if we want to initialize the members of the base classes. Okay, so here I have removed the first formal parameter int I, or we can remove the last one also to make the things neat. So I will be used to initialize base 1 constructor, and j will be used to initialize base 2 constructor, and here we do not need any construction, so I remove this. Still let us print a message constructing derived, okay, so that we can know that derived class constructor is being executed. So even your derived class does not need any constructor, you have to create one if you want to pass values to base class constructors. Okay, let us run it. So the same output, base 1, base 2 derived, they are constructed in this order and they are destroyed in the reverse order. Okay, so in this example we were passing only one parameter to the base class. So base 1 used variable I, base 2 used variable j, but we can pass as many parameters to the base classes as we want. Okay, suppose let us remove base 2 from here and let us have two variables x and y here. So it will need two formal parameters to initialize x and y, x equal to I and y equal to j. Okay, and here we are having only one base class. Okay, and in the derived class let us have something here, protected int xyz. Okay, and ij int k. So here if you want to pass more than one parameter, you can use a comma separated list. So in this case I and j, they will be passed to the base 1 constructor, and here they will be used to initialize x and y. Then the control will return to derived class, and here we will initialize z. Suppose z is equal to x multiplied by y. So now we do not need k. Okay, and let's run it. Let us also try to print the output. Okay, so void show cout x is equal to x endl and let us place a call to show. So constructing base 1, then constructing derived. So x was initialized to 10, y was initialized to 20, and in the constructor we initialize z is equal to x multiplied by y, so z is 200. Okay.